Okay, motherfuckers, we're back. Hopefully my mic's a little better. We're reading from the Bible today. We call it Blake's Bible. What I don't know. Fuck it. We're just gonna go. We're just gonna go pick up. We said that when they were the camel, where I ended up last. I'm just gonna go. Okay. You can feel envy, or you can use slash harness the envy to act with or on the good or evil to get what they have. In which way, whichever, that's where the morality comes in. That's where the what do you want to be. You can act with resentment, like Nietzsche said, and become the exact same thing you don't want to be. Or you can act in love and be exactly who you want to be. We turn intellect into God, in fact. You die what you live by, and someone telling me religion is whatever you live by. And my favorite, live like a victim, die like a victim. In turn, you can live like a villain or a hero. That's why sayings like live long enough to become the villain exist. To survive in a society like this, you have to be evil. A conversation with my music friend, he's similar. He's similar. A conversation with my music friend, he is similar. With creative people, it's about channeling what you're feeling. And if the world tells you you cannot feel it, you in turn get writer's block. We claim mental illnesses and put band-aids like antidepressants on people to shut them up and not let them reshape the world. The world was never ours, but we treat it as such. Humans are problem solvers, and society has tried to solve people and put people on a moral vain pedestal and killed humanity. I was never a bad kid. I was a troubled kid, troubled with the internal conflict of love and kindness, the consequences of kindness. You cannot control others, but you can control yourself. Everything and anything and everything is indirectly an act of love, either lack of, want, fear, or any motive points towards love and the overall message of self love and unconditional love. It's been right under our noses, disguised as stories, lies, pain, heartbreak, movies. Everything is about love and loving now. Live in the moment. They're all sayings that are so popular and apply to everything because love is everything. My brain is like an archive of others' experiences that I've pieced together to understand and cope and learn to not care or be an asshole or be a dick. Now understanding myself and my subconscious a little bit more and what people like myself and Jim Carrey and Robin Williams, Nietzsche, religion, scriptures, stories, music is all about being a radically unique human and instinctual without the judgment. If no one decided being homeless was bad, then they probably wouldn't need to cope with drugs and feeling like an alien. If our world was not revolved around and valued money, power, control, and acting out of fear and focused on love and letting go and not judgment. If we loved our homeless, in quotations, because as you see, home and happiness is love. If we loved our homeless uncle, brother, dad, and just loved and supported when they needed and let them figure out who they are and thrive. If you support and love at the same time and put pressure on them, projecting your own fears, then you get the constant cycle of 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Cheating is the biggest disconnect with me and most people because of having and romanticizing the media of someone's ideal relationships based off of the misogynistic leaders of years ago. I believe that's why there's subconscious hate for men. It's a subconscious resentment for the system and politics of our less educated ancestors. I grew up with a passive, disabled father. He was epileptic, not vegetable state. He was always mom 2.0. He showed me unconditional love because no matter how bad my mom was, he always defended her. But in turn, my mom always worked. My dad just repeated what my mom said. So I ended up teaching myself to be a man online through the perspective of the unconditional love my mother and father gave me, and the unconditional love my father showed her, which I returned. My mother hid me from the world the best she could because my family always knew I was gifted, special, different, but in turn, I was raising myself alone, constantly moving, constantly restarting. And it's fine when you're little and you don't remember, but then you're 15, 16, and it's still happening. Today, as I write this, people say I don't know pain, but I've had to drop, move on, and let go of my life my entire life. My brain and the algorithms showing me what I wanted to see and learn on my own terms. I was watching porn at the age of 9 and lost my virginity at 12. I was watching cartel videos and people dying and getting their heads cut off by middle school. And I had been so bullied at school and at home, I had to grow up fast. But with all that being said, I had grown up into a world that has put morality and intellect and all this stuff as the what makes people better, and in turn it's the ego, still the ego talking. It's still the ego talking. It's the same. Everyone's trying to get the same thing and going about it in two different perspectives, from the slave and the owner, as Nietzsche says. The slave values submission, owner values power. But with that being said, I've used technology usefully and continue to learn, working my brain, collecting ideas and feelings, helping the world understand themselves through my self awareness, boldness, and lack of fear to look dumb. I used to think I loved Houston because it was home, but it's the authentic people who do not care about how they are perceived. The saying that's spray painted a long time ago above I-45 to downtown: be someone, be someone, be anyone. Be whoever the fuck you want to be. The truth is only what you get away with. All of these heavy quotes used in hard times are subconscious truths. The concept of the Truman Show or the Matrix, they're all indirect directions toward the message of love delivered through false prophets. Well, okay, I lied. Sorry. Not the Truman Show and shit. Those are just they're painting the picture of like we're playing their game. But society is like the world without money, all that shit, and what we value is delivered by false prophets, which are like the evil people, governments, fucking the Jews that control all the shit. They want us to censor. They don't. They want us to censor each other. They want us to shut each other up. The evil people want us to focus on each other so the rich can stay rich and the poor can stay poor. It's making sense. um I speak with so many analogies and reality combined to drill into people's heads that we are all wanting the same thing and shown over and over what it is. Maybe the story of God is of men like myself, but we're not fortunate enough to have the internet and resources I have. The word of God and scriptures are not words of a God or someone, but stories of a man and what it means to be human and what it means to accept fate, and for modern verbiage, roll with the punches, thug it out. It is what it is, you know? All of these modern and timeless sayings are merely scriptures for those who do not believe in a God. The slave values submission, the owner values power. If you act on good or evil, it will be the same winners and the same losers. The rich stay rich and the poor stay poor. I am saying all these sayings to drill it in the overall connectivity of every word I am writing in love. Love and hate are synonymous. You have to have the bad days to have the good days. You can't live with them, you can't live without them. Time heals all. In parentheses, I put it will hurt until it doesn't. If you do not let yourself to react or feel and have it become normal, then it will always hurt and always be foreign. You must get through to get over. All of the things I'm saying sound crazy to the world of science, And that is why celebrities, myself, artists, authors, all these creatives and good and evil people of the world tell the same story and acts of love through their art or whatever it is, politician, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? The way I write it down here in modern language and truly trying to translate a feeling through structured, digestible, relatable stories. Maybe my mom can't relate directly to a Drake song talking about him killing someone for revenge, but she can take what applies to her and reflect on a less serious time she acted out of love through revenge. Nietzsche was on the right track, and I believe there are people genetically more predisposed to being evolutionarily and inherently capable of thinking like this and being reincarnated and moving like God and going against the evils of the world. Change happens slow and steady. I just have the balls to care. I just have the balls to not care what people think. I'm delusional, bipolar, major depressive, autistic, whatever labels they can put on us to put us in a box and make us feel trapped in our own heads. Humans are natural problem solvers, and we need to stop trying to control and solve humans. We need to stop trying to find love through religion, society, relationships, control, fear, anger, resentment, etc. It is not our world to save or fix in our lifetime. We need to act through love to get love. Both sides fall short of persuading each other due to the fear of a reaction from societal hive mind morality and ego. People do not care about being a good person, they care about looking like a good person. Once again, the truth is only what you get away with instead of them forgiving and loving. Once again, the truth is only get what you get away with instead in the context of forgiving and loving. And stroking their ego and running and trying to cover the skeletons in their closet and not embrace the ugly, beautiful mess being human is. We turn living into a forced military. We turn living into a forced military of workers and sheep. The more I talk, the more I can see the idea of the Illuminati and a more and move behind and a more behind the scenes power being real. The movies we usually like, the good versus bad, protagonist versus antagonist, repeatable scriptures of us subconsciously wanting someone to save us from the world we made. Kanye's outbursts of comments of slavery and his misunderstoodness of the world, they painted him as crazy, and he hasn't been the same. Robin Williams' mental health declining until a suicide for what I assume his dementia plus misunderstoodness. XXX becoming huge and breaking out of his usual hateful speech and becoming killed. Tupac and now coming out of P. Diddy's hit on him, on top of mugshots that don't look like him. Tupac was also someone who was trying to make a change. Jim Carrey and his crazy face. Shia LaBeouf and his crazy face. It's not about them going crazy, it's about them not wanting to live the lie anymore. Joe Rogan, who has commonly been seen as crazy for listening and believing his truths, despite him saying, believing the people he has on, despite him saying he's just a guy and he doesn't know shit. Andrew Tate, who I believe was teaching a lot of young men to break free through evil or the lion's antics. He even said there's people who don't want you to say these things. I don't know what context, but I remember him saying it, and it was something along the lines of, like, they're gonna do some shit to you. Trump, who I believe is similar, and people hate how honest he is, but is also an example of good and evil, but coming off bad. I am bringing these contrasting personality types to show a lot of the good, uncensored people often die. Some correlation with the 27 Club, and a lot of these bad people are still around. People often say I'm looking at the smaller picture, But living in the prison of self consciousness, my own mind forced me to learn to see everyone's picture. Slang changes with generation to separate from the old ways subconsciously. Change happens slow. Big things are coming and I can feel it. Like Mike Posner said in his song, I'm Thinking About Horses, I'm standing on the beach watching the tsunami grow. I am not scared. I am not wearing swimwear. People are constantly looking for others' validation before making a decision to set themselves up for failure and manifest the things they want spinelessly and putting themselves in a victim's mindset. I notice my girlfriends have had a constant pattern of similar behavior, and I wonder if my trauma and me and my mom's relationship has turned me into a sucker for pain. I notice my girlfriend even behaves like this towards our cats and will try to shift the cat's attention to like her more, and I come to the paradox of my work again. I'm smart enough to notice and see all these things, and me to myself am human and are a victim to all the things I write. I have felt like an energy sponge my whole life, used for my deep, genuine love to build people and be used until I'm no longer needed. Once they got the words they needed out of my mouth, then it is the slow decline ultimately watching. The tsunami that is slowly coming, as Mike Posner said. Watching my life burn beautifully around me, coloring the world with lessons of pain and love. Danielle reminded me of when I wanted to be a teacher or a dad for selfish self worth and resentment of how I was raised. The saying should be this the saying should not be kids raising kids, but humans raising humans. We should not moderate or try to control each other, but learn hard lessons of love by showing who we did not want to be. Lead by a radical example of authenticity. I've noticed as I live, turning myself into a man, I attract women with daddy issues who push me into a point of exploding and being mean and acting out of hate to replace their lack of. There's something there. You'll have to dig into it. I can't care to fucking or reword it. I notice the woman I attract do not like and regularly act in spite of me or the man in their personal relationships. I see time and time again of us repeating the generational trauma right under our nose. Most people have let social media and others predetermine our life. We use labels and God and society and medication and all these things to cope and run from the scary true feelings that is ourselves. The common denominator in all your problems is you. My grandma's favorite quote, according to my mother, if you don't like something, change it. And at first you may think, what? It's out of my control. But sure, you can't uncrash your car, but you can forget and start playing the game. The world will always hurt. That's why we need to lean in and make bad decisions. I just saw someone's Quora quote or comment about this, and David Koff wrote, God is human in the Trinity where one's own mind recognizes truth and behaves in accord with it, because the idea of truth itself is in reality. When you believe in truth, you become a son of truth. Maybe the concept of God was created to safely guide people and avoid the trap of vanity and ego. But with human nature, we've turned morality into an ego game. Everyone in language could have been trying to figure out how to get love and communicate since we could not speak, leaving so much room for miscommunication and misinterpretation, since leaving people of power and evil in those same patterns. Kanye's not crazy. That's crazy. I just wrote that all caps. That's funny as shit. Positive, positive affirmations, manifestation are all modern scriptures or feelings or old art and communications of unconditional love lost in the translation of modern society and linguistics and misinterpretations. A big game of telephone lost in the constant game we were born into. The Matrix, The Truman Show, I Am Legend, Inception, all forms of painting this picture to us in a digestible, non brain shattering way. I've always joked, these niggas aren't fighting divas, they are fighting bisexuality, but they are fighting love. They're so scared of even trying and finding out if they like men that, you know what I mean? Love and hate are synonymous. They fear and only know to show it through control. You have to give people the option to react and be themselves. Why Eric Andre, Bobby Altoff, and High Confrontation satire podcasts are so captivating. Because they aren't satire, and behind every joke there is truth. We look back and laugh because we experienced it already. Hindsight is 2020. People don't like cats because they do what they want. People love trainable dogs that love unconditionally. We treat each other like dogs and not like humans. The right manipulate power to get unconditional love. The left manipulate submission and victimizing to get unconditional love. This ties into Nietzsche's owner valuing power and slave valuing submission, and them acting in resentment towards each other. Good versus bad, hero versus villain, love versus hate, antagonist versus protagonist. Everything is a collection and archive of the human experience, the way my brain has archived all of these key memories. If I don't mess up, how will I get a better life? How will I get better? The decriminalization of drugs, the slow release of the leash, the Uberman, the slow release of the leash, the Ubermenches of the previous world needed to put us on to get us to the age of information. We fear what we don't know instead of embracing it. We live in the fears and shadows of others. Everyone loves you, nobody likes you is a phrase that shows the inherent moral hypocrisy of the world. Sorry, let me re-say that. Everyone loves you, nobody likes you. It's a phrase that shows the inherent and moral hypocrisy the world painted previously. So we today can do the same. Keep failing until it feels right. Say it out loud, see how it feels. All right, that it that's what I got so far. I'm sure there's some other person that's already said this shit, but I came up with all that shit just with my own. I look evil as shit. I look like I swear it's because it's bright outside and I just whatever. Yeah, fuck y'all.